5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What are we? Some kind of monkey man?
I still haven't found out a good intro. I just did a countdown the first time, and I guess I might as well stick with it, but I'll think of something better. And yeah, what are we? Some kind of monkey man? Some kind of, God. Oh my God. All right. Monkey Man. We went and saw it a week ago. I don't know about you. I'm a Dev Patel fan. I like him as an actor. I think he's very good.
I've liked him in a few of the things I've seen. I really liked his performance in The Green Knight, which I know you haven't seen. I thought he was really good in that movie. There's a few other films of his where I was like, oh yeah, pretty impressed by him, but not like super like in love with him, you know? But I thought his performance was pretty great in this one.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I've said it before. Slumdog Millionaire is one of my favorite films. And he portrays Jamal in that film very well. There are two other actors portraying the same character at a younger stage in their life. So obviously they all lend credits to the same character. But I feel like he does a really good job. And ever since I had seen that movie, I want to see him in more stuff, you know? So I guess coming into this film, hearing, wait, this is his directorial debut? That's pretty big, you know? I had no idea that he wanted to be a filmmaker, so that's really cool.
Sure.
I like it when actors take a step behind the lens. It's always interesting. It's always fascinating to me to see, okay, this guy's been acting in movies for a while. Let's see how he does on his directorial debut, you know? So we went to go watch it, saw it in RPX screen, so it was pretty big, it was pretty loud. Yeah, and I guess I'll start out. I liked it, but I wanted to love it. Being a Dev Patel fan and just being a movie fan in general, you want to see the success stories. Hearing him step behind the lens, hearing the production issues he had with this film, I wanted to love it. I really wanted to. Apparently, he like broke his toe in his arm or something.
Yeah, he like broke his hand during filming it. Or
yeah,
during like, a stunt or something.
Apparently, a lot of stuff was not going right with this film, which I got to give it props. It still turned out really good. But however, I wanted to leave the film going, I love that. I want to see more from this guy. However, I did just leave kind of, that was good, you know, and that was kind of it. I didn't feel like it affected me in any profound way. It didn't really resonate with me too much emotionally. I guess some of the pros of the film, obviously Dev Patel's acting, he's really good. His physicality and his role does.
He's usually one of my favorite parts about the film. For
yeah.
Sure.
You can tell he's invested. He's invested into this character who I guess doesn't have a name. I guess in the credits is just Kid.
Yeah, I was looking through IMDb. Apparently his name is Kid, I guess. So.
Yeah. So there's that. But he's one of my pros of the film. Does a really good job. Some of the supporting casts, I just feel like they're good. They're serviceable.
I didn't really care for them that much. I thought a lot of them were just kind of like, they didn't really need to be there. Like, you could have taken them out and it really wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Which I'm guessing maybe was one of the challenges of it is an all Indian cast. So maybe he wanted to cast people who are actually from where he's from, you know, which is cool.
I think that's cool. That's good.
I guess the only outlier would be Sharto Copley. He does okay, but he just does his normal Sharto
he was
stuff.
Not good in the film.
Yeah.
I just was like...
He's just really over the top.
Took me out of the film, unfortunately.
Every time I see him in a film, I'm just like, he does that same thing, you know?
Yeah.
He's just really over the top, really just like screaming.
Yeah, he loves to scream.
Yeah, the only time I've really liked that actor in a movie was District 9, but even then...
I haven't seen that.
Even then, I'll say in that movie, still kind of the same thing.
Sure. So overall, I thought the film was okay. Didn't leave too much of a massive impression on me. I was just kind of like Yeah, this is kind of like if John Wick was like a Bollywood movie. It was, and of course he's still trying to find his footing. It is obviously a debut, so I'm not going to be super like, oh, this is not that great, It's an okay debut. I would say for me, easily my favorite part and aspect of the film was the action. I loved how at the beginning, like the action was very rough. It was very like shaky. But as like the film goes along, like the action gets a lot smoother, the camera work gets a lot smoother, and especially in the music in like the second half of the action, I loved like that flamenco guitar they used.
That was awesome.
For like the action scene where he's like in the bar and he's just like hitting everyone, and it's like so well choreographed, super well done. That left like a massive impression on me just for those action scenes. It was easily like my favorite part. I really loved the use of color in the second half too, with how it was using like that bright red when he goes in the elevator.
That was cool.
It was very like, it was like eye candy, and I was kind of wishing the film was a lot more like that, where it was just a little bit using more color,
Yeah.
Because there's like a lot of things there, like there's little sprinkles of it, and it's just like I just wanted more of it.
Yeah.
One of my biggest issues too, also with the film, and I think the reason why I thought it was okay was just because I thought it was way too long. I think it could have been trimmed down like 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And just expanded on the things that, like, about his past and his trauma and, like, his relationship with this police officer. Because I don't feel like you really get that much time with the police officer. I feel like the film is more focused on his progression, which is great, but you don't really get time with a lot of the villain and, like,
it should have focused more on things that were working. I felt like a lot of the other stuff could have worked, but it felt very like half-baked almost.
Yeah.
Like there is a like political leader in the film. His introduction is just very random.
What
and I
was
was
his
just
intro again? I don't remember.
It was just like it showed news clips of him at first, but then it shows a shot of him, which is cool. Like he's in this pool in like water, and it shows him like coming out of it, and like it looks cool, but they don't really like do anything with it. And I guess there's a lot of like political discourse going on in India right now, which is one of the reasons why Netflix didn't end up distributing the film, is because they didn't want audiences in India to get offended by, I guess, the political side of the story.
Yeah.
But even then, I just felt like it was kind of half-baked. Like this political figure, I never really like... You don't find out anything about him. The only thing you do see is that he is falsely leading the people into believing that he's the right answer to all their problems.
Cult kind of thing,
Yeah.
And like it'd be cool, like like there's some unknown, like you don't know much about the villain, but it doesn't really explore all that much with him,
Exactly.
And that's kind of what was one of my biggest issues, like when he goes like up the penthouse or whatever the building was, and he's like confronting the villain. It's like I should be impacted by this, but it's just I haven't had that much time with the villain, I
just didn't really care. I was just like, well, he got the cop.
There,
He got the cop who killed his mom, so like, okay, like that was the
I feel
main
like
thing.
should have been like the main villain
Exactly.
of the film, is that cop, because we have a little bit more time with him, and we get it throughout the flashbacks, which I thought were okay.
Yeah.
I think they were kind of like, they could have been a lot better, but I think like explore that cop, like do something with him, instead of this like leader cult guy. Because I was kind of like confused for a bit in the first half of like, wait, who's the villain again?
Yeah.
Because it kept like saying, oh yeah, it was the cop, but then like other scenes it would be like, oh yeah, it's this cult leader guy. So,
and I will say maybe that's one of the things that a more established director might have realized is maybe I should just cut this out. Maybe this political aspect, maybe I should just leave it out. So I feel like maybe since it was his first time, he filmed all this stuff. He's like, maybe, we'll just leave it in, it works. But it's like, I feel like a more experienced director would have realized this isn't really working. Like, it doesn't really connect as much as I would like it to, you know?
Of course.
But maybe he did have a connection to what he was filming and stuff, but I just feel like it disserviced the story rather than helped it.
Yeah.
It was, like Wallied said, like, after the confrontation with the main antagonist, which is what I would think.
The police officer, yeah.
The police officer. It's almost like, well, this is kind of like tacked on here, you know? It's almost like Dev realized I have to have a resolution to that because I introduced this guy. Let me put it in there. I don't know. And it's funny, the comparisons to John Wick are obviously there. They make reference in the movie. But it's like when I'm watching John Wick, there's no like political side story in it, you know? And
it's just full on action. Hey, this guy is going to kill a bunch of people, and there you go. That's exactly. It's very basic. It's very simple, and you're just mostly there for the action.
And the motivation is very small, but it works. It's like this group killed this dog who was like a lasting memory to his wife who passed away, and it's like right there, I buy it. I'm in. You don't need political squabbling and intrigue of religious leaders. Like John Wick knew, well, let's just jump in right away, you know? Like, people are invested. And I guess that's my thing with Monkey Man is just, like, it took a while for things to kind of get moving. And I was just like...
It was kind of hard to figure out because it was, like, 40 minutes to an hour in. I'm like, wait, what is the plot of this movie? You know, it's a little hard to figure out. And I feel like if you can't tell me what the plot of the film, at least in, like, the first 10 to 20 minutes, it's kind of, like, not the best sign.
And I feel like things were introduced and then forgotten about, I guess, and then reintroduced, like the fighting. Like he's in a boxing ring, he's a fighter, and then out of nowhere that's dropped. And then it's brought back like 40 minutes, 50 minutes later in the movie, and I'm just like, wait, I forgot about that, you know? Or the whole religious guy, like he's introduced and then it's just kind of forgotten about, and then it's brought back, you know? And I was just like, we're jumping back and forth between stuff that is interesting and then stuff that isn't that interesting, you know? And then he has like a side friend or a sidekick friend type person.
Yeah, he was annoying. I didn't like him.
Yeah, and it was just like, I feel like these characters weren't really given too much, but that's the other comparison with John Wick is like there are side characters in that movie. They're in there for a very short amount of time.
But they're likable, and you actually care about them.
And you get like intrigued by them, you know? But it was just like a lot of the side characters in this, I didn't really have much intrigue for. I will agree with Wallied. By the time we were at like an hour and 40, I was like, is this thing wrapping up?
Yeah, I was kind of like, how is this going to wrap up?
Yeah, you know? And I was just kind of like, waiting for it.
I thought it was supposed to end like 30 minutes ago with the cop thing, and then just like it kept going, and I was like, okay, how is this going to end?
Yeah.
How's this going to wrap up? And
and
I wasn't too big on the ending.
That was just my main frustration. We saw it with a friend who really liked it, and I guess my intention going into it is like I just wanted to love it. I really wanted to come out of there being like Dev Patel is one of the next voices in movies that I want to hear more from.
And yeah, I mean, I still am looking forward to kind of seeing what he does next, even though I wasn't too big on this, because I feel like the potential's there. I see it in this movie, but there's a lot more work that I think needs to be done, you know, depending on if he decides to make another action film, depending on if he decides to go in a different direction altogether. I'm definitely intrigued to see what he does next, but there's a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah.
For sure. So kind of going back to the villain, I just wanted to talk about for a bit is I do wish they focused, like even if it was a simple motivation, I would have wished I got to know like a clear motivation for like what he wanted, you know, what was he trying to get out of this? Why did he want to kill the main character, you know?
Yeah. Did he remember his mom? Like that was one thing that I was confused about. I was like, did he intentionally go to try to find his mom to kill him, or was it just another killing and all the stuff that was happening, you know? Yeah. And that's what I started thinking about the villain's motivations. I was like, does he even know who this guy is? Yeah. But he like says he does, or like he says something about his mom, and I was just like, I don't really feel like he remembers who this kid is. And I will say one thing that definitely could have been improved on were these flashbacks. There's multiple times where there was just so many flashbacks in the first half.
Spammed him a little too much.
And they showed too much. Like the one with the mom was played out maybe a little too long. I was like, they're really just showing everything like it's like a reenactment from like a crime show that I'm watching. When they could have done things
I wasn't a big fan of the acting in that scene.
Like, again, I'm sorry, the obvious comparisons in John Wick, when it shows flashbacks about his wife, it is very short. There is maybe like less than a minute of stuff of him showing him that he's in love with his wife. It's like a quick shot, another shot of them walking together, and then another shot when you see her fall to the ground and you realize that something's wrong. Amazing filmmaking done in such a short. He didn't need to draw that out. If you would have shown in John Wick the whole time he was with his wife, if you would have shown all this backstory, it really wouldn't have helped it in any way, you know?
Well, and it's like it kind of ruins also like just like the intrigue, you know, and it's like it's like it really just spells it out for you, and it's like we know, you know, it's like you don't need to show us. Like, we can get an idea of like, this guy's gone through a lot. And you can tell a lot from that, just from like the first 10 minutes. You know? But I just don't like the fact that the film like has to like explicitly tell you, yes, his mom died. Yep. And it was just
and I guess
great.
They could have done it with maybe like better music. But it's like when they go into that flashback with his mom, the mom and the cop start talking, and it's just like, already I don't really need to hear this conversation, you know? I guess the main intrigue of that whole thing was finding out how his hands got the way they were. And that is effective, seeing the kid go up and trying to save his mom. But even then, it lingers too long. And I'm like, you're really showing a lot. Like, you could have shown just a quick, short amount of scenes, and we would have gotten the point, you know? The cop, he's evil because he did something bad, but he didn't really have the presence of someone that...
He's like barely in the movie, and it's not even that interesting.
Because even in the beginning, I'm like... When he first fights him, he almost gets him. So I'm like, where's this triumphant thing of him training, becoming this better fighter? I'm like, you almost beat him. All you had to do was shoot him faster and you would have got him. The only reason the cop survived was by chance. I don't need to see a whole training montage of you.
The movie would have been over then.
Of you becoming a better fighter, because I know you almost had him. The only reason he lived is because he was lucky, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you're going to delve into this whole subplot of him training to be a better fighter. And that's one of my nitpicks, I guess, with the movie is like, okay, this guy's been a boxer for this whole time, right? He's been a fighter. He purposely loses these fights. Are you trying to tell me that this whole time he hasn't achieved his peak fighting yet? Yet when he goes and learns how to fight by a guy playing drums, that now he's this A-list fighter who walks in and is basically God mode, just starts wrecking fools left and right. All he needed was to hear this guy's drums and go through like a tiny spiritual awakening. I don't know.
I just felt like that was easily one of my favorite parts about the film, was that whole like sequence of like the bongos, him playing, and then like on sync with like him punching the bag.
Like, it's cool, but like it's done well, but I just felt like, what's the point? This guy's been fighting for such a long time. He should already be a really good fighter.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, I don't know. Like, the problem is that the film doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
Like, if he has been, because for all I know, I feel like he was maybe a beginner fighter, you know, and kind of more like amateur, like just beginning.
Yeah.
And so my takeaway was kind of like, okay, he's a beginner, and then as like that middle point where like he's doing the the fighting and it's like on sync with the bongos, it's like him like trying to like improve and master his fighting skills, you know. Hence kind of why I enjoy that second half more, where he is like just like one man army, like he's being able to like take people left and right with those action sequences, you know?
Yeah. They didn't really know where they were when the movie started. Because
Yeah.
that's the thing, like you said, it's up to interpretation, or you interpret it as like he's an amateur fighter. The movie doesn't really say how
Yeah.
long he has been fighting for. But the only reason that I think that he's been doing it a while is because when he goes back to fight later in the movie, all this promo material makes it seem like this guy had been around a while. There's a poster that they see. It's like the monkey returns or the beast comes back. And it's like, okay, so wait, was he like this experienced fighter who had been doing it a while? Because you're kind of advertising this fight as like the big return. You know, it's like if Mike Tyson, he's coming back to fighting. It's like the legend comes back, you know?
Yeah,
And it's like,
yeah.
that's what I got. I was like, so wait,
Okay.
is he an experienced fighter? You know, has he been doing it a long time?
That's the thing is like I'm not sure, you know.
Yeah.
I can only just kind of take away from like what he's maybe trying to get across. And that was
Yeah.
kind of like my takeaway from like the movie was just like, okay, yeah, he's amateur. He doesn't really know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's kind of putting on this like facade maybe. And
Yeah.
then just like as the film progresses, it's like he's just trying to find his way of like being able to like cope, I guess, but
Yeah.
also as like kind of this outlet sort of thing for him.
Yeah.
You know?
I wish the movie had focused more on his intelligence and him learning how to outsmart all these scummy people. Because there's like a beginning part where he's almost infiltrating this place where this cop goes, where that religious guy goes, and he gets there as like a cook assistant or whatever. And then he starts training this dog to like bring him a gun to like outsmart the security there. And then he starts serving like these drugs, and then he switches it out with like this bleed. And it's like, okay, this guy's like smart, and he's trying to find a way to blend in and move his way up so he can get there, you know? And I felt like the movie should have played more into that, him finding a way to outsmart these people who have unlimited resources, who have all the money, who have everything, and he has nothing, you know? I guess that was the stuff that I appreciated more, you know, him showing inexperience. I felt like the only time he really felt inexperienced was in that bathroom fight. But like I said, he already basically won. Like he literally had him, you know? So there was no real need for like a training montage or a training sequence, because I felt like he was already there, you know? It felt really pointless. Granted, it was done in an interesting way. Like the scene where he like pulls open his chest was a cool shot.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I forgot to bring that up. Yeah.
And he goes through a spiritual awakening to become this person in this story, this legend, or this religious story. But again, things were like brought up and then just like forgotten about. Like he's this monkey man fighter, yet he wears the mask in like the first 10 minutes and then it's forgotten about.
And then he wears it again. Like
he wears
one
it
other
again,
time, and then that was it.
Then he takes it off right away, and it's just like that was like my whole thing with the movies. Like things were brought up, forgotten about, and then brought back up again, and
like
then
in
done.
Convenient way, like a more of like a plot convenience. Like, oh, we need this to just get through the plot, and I wasn't too big on that.
And compared to something like, you know, John Wick, it was like you see him rising through all these different challenges that come at him, you know. Finding the killers when they first found him is like this big task. You know, the assassins come to his house, they try to kill him. He goes to this hotel, finds out there's more assassins who are trying to kill him. It was just all these challenges coming at him. And I felt like Kid, or Dev Patel's character in the movie, is just like the only challenges I felt like he was really facing were just like didn't seem too insurmountable for him. I felt like he was already like a fully realized character, you know?
Yeah.
And
it felt like a plot. It felt like a chunk of the film was like missing.
Yeah.
Almost, you know? I'm not sure if that was like intentional, but like, yeah, I felt like chunks of the film were like missing.
Yeah. Or just recontextualize it a bit. Like if you're gonna have him confront this cop at the beginning, show him lose, show him get like an inch within dying, you know? Like they kind of did that, but even then it was just, it didn't really feel
it's
like
very brief though, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't really feel like I was watching a character going through with nothing, you know? going through with the bare minimum, trying to perfect, trying to become better in the name of vengeance for his mom, you know? It was just kind of all over the place. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, that's kind of the hard thing. There's not much to say. I guess I'll just give my closing thoughts. I would just say overall, it was a decent watch. Probably something I'm not going to be returning to anytime soon. But I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of glad I watched it. It was kind of an interesting film and kind of like an okay debut, you know? And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Dev Patel does next, regardless if it's either going the action route or going in a completely left turn and doing something different. Yeah, like I said, the action was easily my favorite part about the film, and I kind of liked that progression. You know, that was kind of what was keeping me invested. You know, but everything else I was just kind of like either indifferent towards or just was like really didn't like at all. And yeah, I would just say it was an okay watch. I would give it like a 5 out of 10.
The one thing that I take away from this movie is Dev Patel, he can direct. He can do it. He just needs to perfect things. He needs to take this movie and learn from it. You know, what are some things that could have been cut out? What's something that maybe he could have pushed a little further? You know, like with the corrupt leaders, maybe he could have went a little deeper. Motives, things like that. Knowing, like, I can fully show what happens to these characters and I can explain it really well. Or maybe some things are better if I let the audience interpret things on their own, you know?
Yeah.
I just felt like maybe there was a lot of like hand-holding in this movie, kind of over-explaining, re-showing flashbacks, you know, showing all this stuff, and it was just like, I don't need this, you know?
There's no purpose to it.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, and that was one of my other big issues with that film too.
Yeah, and granted, I am excited for what he does next, but I just hope he takes this and he learns from it. Listen to critiques, listen to criticism, you know, because I really feel like if he can get things together, tighten up the screws a little bit, he can be a really good director.
Just take out the little thorns so you can get the roses, you know?
Yeah. And I'm not going to discredit all of the challenges he faced making this movie.
Of course.
Going through all of that and to still have cohesive product at the end of it is really good. And that shows that he can adapt. He can work well under the crazy circumstances that he had making this. I just hope the next one, maybe what I think it might be, take yourself out of the acting. Maybe have a lead that you can just totally focus on behind the camera. Maybe what it was is he kind of took on too much at once.
Yeah.
Because he's the writer, the director, the producer, and the actor, you know, which is a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot for your first film. And especially with the choreography, the action, because like we said, in the last 15 minutes, it's great. It goes for it, and it's pulled off really, really well. Mm-hmm. That it does rival John Wick's type action, you know? Yeah. And we know how committed those directors and filmmakers are to their, you know, story. And I felt like he got there. He got there really well, but I just felt like it never really took off. It never really reached that point of, whoa, you know, I felt like we got a little bit of it. I just wanted more of it. And I really wanted to love this movie. It's a shame that I like Wallied. I probably won't watch it again. I don't know if I'll really recommend it to anyone. It's unfortunate, but I am going to give Dev Patel another chance. Not another chance. I'm going to watch his career moving forward. He doesn't need my second chance. He's doing fine just on his own, but I am going to keep watching his stuff because I want to see him grow. I want to see him progress. I'll give the movie, I'll do the same. I'll do 5 out of 10. I was thinking of 4, but it was good.
Oh, wow.
It was average. And I'm really looking forward to what else he has to offer. That's kind of the end of the review. Thank y'all for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.